Have you ever curled up on the couch during your period, clutching your stomach, wondering why the pain just won't let up, even though you've tried everything from heating pads to over-the-counter meds? What if the real culprit isn't stress, or hormones alone, but something as ordinary as what you had for breakfast? What if the pain you're feeling right now started with the food on your plate? Every month, millions of women brace themselves for the discomfort that comes with their cycle. But some endure pain so intense, it interferes with work, sleep, relationships, and even their ability to smile. And yet, this suffering has been so normalized that many don't realize that some of it can be controlled. Not by adding something new, but by removing the very foods that silently aggravate the situation. This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about empowering yourself. Because every woman deserves to feel in control of her own body, and pain should never feel like her monthly destiny. Let me tell you about Rachel, a 47-year-old woman from Bristol. For nearly 2 decades, she accepted her painful periods as her biological burden. She thought the mood swings, the sharp cramps, and the bloating were just part of the deal. But one day, while visiting her gynecologist for something unrelated, her doctor casually asked, "What do you usually eat during your period?" Rachel shrugged. "I crave chocolate and fries, lots of coffee. Sometimes ice cream if it gets really bad." Her doctor nodded slowly and gently responded, "I think your food might be working against you." That one sentence opened a new chapter in Rachel's life. Food isn't just fuel. It's information for your hormones. It's chemistry that communicates with your nervous system, your uterus, your immune cells. When we eat certain things, especially during sensitive times like menstruation, we're sending messages to our bodies. Some of those messages soothe. Others ignite. Let's start with processed sugar. It's the sweet comfort many women turn to during their periods. But research has shown that sugar increases inflammation in the body, and inflammation is a major contributor to menstrual cramps. A study published in the Journal of Pain Research in 2018 found that women who consumed high amounts of added sugars reported more severe dysmenorrhea. That's the medical term for painful periods. Inflammation makes the uterine muscles contract more painfully and for longer periods. So while that slice of cake may bring short-lived joy, it might also be tightening the grip on your womb. Then there's caffeine, especially from coffee. It constricts blood vessels and can reduce blood flow to the uterus, which can worsen cramps. Caffeine also dehydrates the body, potentially making muscle spasms more intense. In one cross-sectional study from the University of Georgia, women who drank more than 2 cups of coffee a day were more likely to report moderate to severe period pain. Some gynecologists even recommend cutting out caffeine a week before your period begins to see if symptoms improve. Fried foods and processed meats are another dangerous duo. High in trans fats and omega-6 fatty acids, these foods fuel systemic inflammation. Think bacon, sausages, deep-fried snacks. They might satisfy emotional cravings, but behind the scenes, they may be triggering prostaglandins, hormone-like substances that cause the uterus to contract. The higher the prostaglandin levels, the worse the cramps. That's not just theory, it's biology. And for women who consume dairy, it's worth mentioning that certain milk products, particularly full-fat dairy, can cause bloating and may worsen cramping for those who are sensitive to lactose or casein. Some studies, such as those from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, suggest a possible connection between high dairy intake and more severe menstrual symptoms, especially in women over 40 when hormonal shifts become more unpredictable. Alcohol is another hidden culprit. While a glass of wine may seem like a way to relax, alcohol dehydrates the body and can disrupt hormone levels. It can also lead to more intense cramps and longer periods. Plus, alcohol can lower magnesium levels in the body, and magnesium is crucial for relaxing the muscles and reducing pain. There's also a modern enemy we don't talk about enough: refined carbohydrates. White bread, white rice, pastries, these spike blood sugar levels quickly and then cause a crash. That crash increases cortisol, the stress hormone, which can make your whole body more sensitive to pain, including menstrual cramps. Nutritionists have long advised swapping these out for whole grains to stabilize hormones and reduce inflammation. And then there are artificial additives, preservatives, food colorings, and chemical flavorings found in packaged snacks and instant meals. These ingredients don't just affect your digestion. Some, like MSG, have been associated with increased inflammatory response and hormonal disruption in sensitive individuals. The good news? Small changes in diet can make a world of difference. Rachel, the woman from Bristol, decided to gradually cut out processed sugar and reduce caffeine. Within 3 cycles, she noticed her cramps were milder. She added anti-inflammatory foods like berries, leafy greens, and omega-3 rich seeds. Her mood stabilized, her bloating decreased, and for the first time in years, she could go through her period without reaching for a painkiller. What we eat can either add to the burden or ease the body's struggle. So if you or someone you love suffers from painful periods, maybe it's time to look at the kitchen instead of the medicine. Carbonated, and if you found this eye-opening or helpful, we warmly invite you to subscribe to the Seniors UpLife YouTube channel. We share stories, insights, and science that matter especially for those navigating the challenges of health and aging with grace and dignity. Because every woman's health journey deserves understanding, support, and a safe space to grow. It's important to understand that menstrual cramps, while often seen as a normal part of womanhood, are deeply tied to inflammation, hormonal fluctuations, and how the body processes what we put into it. When we eat certain foods, especially during the days leading up to and during menstruation, those foods interact with our biochemistry in ways that can either reduce discomfort or amplify it significantly. Unfortunately, many of the most commonly consumed items during this time are the ones that can quietly worsen the pain. Take salty foods, for instance. Chips, packaged soups, canned foods, and fast food meals tend to contain high levels of sodium. Excess sodium causes the body to retain water, which leads to bloating. While bloating is already common during menstruation due to hormone shifts, added salt intensifies it. This excess pressure in the abdomen can make cramps feel sharper and digestion more sluggish. In one small observational study, women who reduced sodium in their diets during menstruation reported a noticeable drop in abdominal discomfort and swelling. Carbonated beverages and soft drinks are another overlooked trigger. Many contain both caffeine and sugar, a double strike to the body's hormonal balance. But even the diet versions, though sugar-free, can include artificial sweeteners like aspartame or sucralose, which can disrupt gut health and increase sensitivity. Pain. A disrupted gut microbiome, in turn, can throw off estrogen metabolism, worsening hormonal imbalance and related symptoms. The bloating caused by carbonation adds another layer of discomfort that many don't connect to what they drink. Even seemingly innocent condiments and sauces can be loaded with ingredients that are unhelpful during menstruation. Ketchup, barbecue sauce, mayonnaise, and salad dressings often contain added sugars, hydrogenated oils, and preservatives. When used daily or in generous portions, these can raise inflammatory markers in the body. According to research from the Harvard School of Public Health, chronic inflammation is a key component of many reproductive health issues, including endometriosis and dysmenorrhea. Then we have red meat. While it's rich in iron, which is often needed during menstruation due to blood loss, red meat is also high in arachidonic acid, a type of omega-6 fatty acid that promotes the production of prostaglandins, the same compounds that cause uterine muscles to contract painfully. A study conducted in Italy observed a correlation between high red meat consumption and increased menstrual pain in women, aged 18 to 45. Those who switched to plant-based proteins for even part of their diet experienced milder cramps and improved energy levels. Let's talk about chocolate, which holds a special place in many women's routines during their cycle. While dark chocolate in moderation can actually be beneficial due to its magnesium content, most commercial chocolates are high in dairy and sugar, making them more inflammatory than healing. The temporary serotonin boost chocolate provides is quickly followed by a sugar crash, leading to irritability, fatigue, and more severe cramping. Choosing raw cacao or very dark chocolate with minimal sugar can be a better alternative. It's also worth mentioning gluten, especially for those who may have sensitivity to it. Gluten-containing foods like white pasta, white bread, and certain cereals may cause inflammation and gastrointestinal discomfort in sensitive individuals. For women with undiagnosed gluten sensitivity or celiac disease, consuming these foods can significantly worsen period symptoms. A study from the American Journal of Gastroenterology found that women with gluten sensitivity often experienced heightened PMS symptoms and menstrual cramps when they consumed wheat-based products, and perhaps most controversially, many fruit. Juices labeled as healthy can actually be problematic. Juices like orange, apple, and cranberry often contain more sugar than a soda can. Even 100% fruit juice can cause a blood sugar spike if consumed in large amounts without fiber to slow it down. The sudden increase and crash in blood sugar can lead to mood swings, fatigue, and even exacerbate pain perception. Whole fruits, on the other hand, come with fiber and are much gentler on the system. It's easy to fall into the trap of reaching for comfort foods when the body is aching and the mind feels foggy. But what the body actually craves is comfort with care nourishment that supports the intricate dance of hormones rather than sending it into chaos. By simply becoming aware of what we consume and how it affects us during our cycle, we begin to reclaim power over our experience of menstruation. These foods don't have to be eliminated forever. What's more useful is understanding timing and quantity. Having a small piece of chocolate is different from eating 3 candy bars. Drinking a small cup of coffee might not be harmful, but relying on it heavily during your period can backfire. The shift lies not in restriction, but in intentional choice. Imagine waking up during your period without that heavy, dragging feeling in your lower back. Imagine walking into work without having to brace yourself against the next wave of pain. These possibilities become more real when we align our nutrition with our body's needs. Our cycles are not curses, they're signals, rhythms, and conversations happening between the body and its environment. And food, more than almost anything else, becomes a tool in how we respond. For those struggling silently, know that your pain is not being imagined or exaggerated. It is real and it deserves to be understood. And one of the simplest, most profound ways we can begin to understand it is through what's already on our plate. There's a quiet war happening in the bodies of countless women every single month, and many of them don't even realize that what they eat could be tipping the scales toward more suffering. It's not about blame. It's about awareness. The human body is incredibly responsive, especially during hormonal fluctuations, and food doesn't just fuel us, it shapes the way we feel, think, and even hurt. Menstrual cramps aren't just muscle spasms. They're the result of a complex chain of biological events influenced by prostaglandins, inflammation, hydration, and circulation, all of which can be directly affected by what we consume. One of the most underestimated culprits when it comes to worsening menstrual pain is excessive dairy intake. For many women, dairy isn't just part of their diet, it's woven into their daily habits, from morning lattes to cheese-laden lunches and creamy desserts at night. While dairy can be a good source of calcium and vitamin D, for some individuals it triggers an inflammatory response. Women who are sensitive to lactose or casein, the protein in dairy, may experience increased bloating, digestive discomfort, and sharper cramps. Research conducted by the National Institutes of Health suggests that eliminating dairy products in certain cases, especially for women with endometriosis or irritable bowel symptoms, can significantly reduce monthly pain and discomfort. Artificial sweeteners are another modern ingredient quietly wreaking havoc. Found in diet sodas, sugar-free yogurts, energy bars, and even toothpaste. Sweeteners like aspartame and saccharin can disrupt gut flora. Since gut health is intimately tied to hormonal balance, particularly estrogen metabolism, imbalanced microbiota may lead to irregular periods, mood instability, and stronger menstrual cramps. A disrupted gut can also lead to higher levels of systemic inflammation, which in turn worsens pain sensitivity throughout the body. And there's soy. While soy can be beneficial in moderate, whole food forms like tofu or edamame Highly processed soy found in protein powders, snacks, and some packaged foods can act as endocrine disruptors for certain people. These compounds, known as phytoestrogens, mimic estrogen in the body and may contribute to hormonal imbalance when consumed in excess. For women dealing with already erratic estrogen levels, the additional stimulation from processed soy may increase cramping, breast tenderness, and irritability during menstruation. Energy drinks also deserve a place on this list not only because they contain staggering levels of caffeine, but also due to their high sugar content and chemical additives. A typical can of energy drink can deliver more than twice the caffeine of a regular cup of coffee, along with artificial coloring, synthetic vitamins, and stimulants like taurine or guarana. These ingredients can increase heart rate, disrupt sleep, and overstimulate the nervous system. During menstruation, when the body is already more sensitive and fatigued, such stimulation can worsen stress and magnify physical pain. And then sometimes it's not the food itself, but the timing. Skipping meals or eating irregularly can throw the body into blood sugar chaos. When blood glucose crashes, cortisol and adrenaline spike. These stress hormones heighten pain perception and increase the body's sensitivity to cramping. This is particularly harmful for women in perimenopause or those who already suffer from hormonal imbalances, where blood sugar regulation becomes more delicate. A missed breakfast or late lunch doesn't just affect energy, it can trigger a chain reaction that leads to more severe cramps and mood swings by evening. A particularly heartbreaking story comes from a woman named Sophia, a 39-year-old nurse from Lyon. She worked long shifts and often relied on vending machine snacks, sugary granola bars, and quick energy drinks to get through the day. Every month, her periods would come with such pain that she'd need to lie down in the hospital staff room with a heating pad pressed to her stomach. She tried painkillers, hormone therapy, even meditation, but nothing helped. One day, a colleague suggested she try tracking her food intake for a few months. Reluctantly, she agreed. What she discovered shocked her. Nearly everything she ate in the week leading up to her period was high in sugar, low in nutrients, and loaded with preservatives. She made small changes, swapping snacks for fruits, drinking herbal teas instead of energy drinks, and cutting back on processed foods. 3 cycles later, her pain had gone from unbearable to manageable. She no longer needed to lie down during work, and she felt more alert, more present, and more in control of her body. That's the silent power of dietary awareness. It's not flashy. It's not sold in commercials. But it works. Too often, the discussion around menstrual cramps is either overly clinical or completely dismissed. But the truth is that food plays a crucial role in either aggravating or easing our monthly experiences. And while medication and rest are important tools, they work even better when the body is being nourished with what it truly needs. Pain doesn't have to be a lifelong companion. With a few thoughtful adjustments, whether it's reducing caffeine, limiting processed foods, watching your dairy intake, or eating regularly to avoid sugar crashes, many women can experience real relief. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. But by listening to your body, observing patterns, and giving it what it truly craves, real, nourishing, anti-inflammatory food, you can begin to shift from simply enduring your cycle to moving through it with greater ease and resilience. ****.